who I'm going to be introducing very shortly. But before we get into the core of what we have for you today, we just want to get to know you briefly. We want to get to know about your background. We want to get to know about your location as well. So put for us in the chat box your location, where you're joining us from. We want to get to know that. And we also want to know one of your expectations for joining today's webinar. We want to get to know your expectation for joining today's webinar, basically. So let's get to hear from you in the chat box. Let's get to hear from you in the chat box very quickly. We just want to be able to gauge your expectation by the end of today's webinar. I want to be able to see if everything was met. So please and please and please, we are quite a lot on the call, and I want to get to hear from everybody. Maybe not to speak, but you can just put it in the chat box for us. Let's get to, hear your expectation. Of course, you already know the webinar title. It's just basically about how you can leverage your skills, your transferable skills into your cloud role if you're going to be transitioning into cloud or DevOps. So please and please, we want to hear from you. Michael, we want to hear from you. Michelle, we want to hear from you. Oluwashola, Christiana, Luafemi, we want to hear from you. We want to hear your expectation, and do let us know where you're joining us from as well. If you're joining from the UK, if you're joining from Nigeria, wherever or whichever part of the world you're getting to join us from tonight, we just want to really, really get to know you before we dive right into what we have for you today. So I'm waiting for us all. I'm waiting for us all. I'm waiting for us all. And while we're doing that as well, okay, someone's hand is great. So you can just use the chat button. Henry, if you want to talk, you can use the chat section. Yes, so we don't take too much of our time. Okay, so I have a message from Christiana. Christiana is joining from the UK, and she wants to know how to make a career pivot with existing skill. That's amazing. Thank you, Christiana. We're definitely speaking to the right audience tonight, and I love it. I love it. Oluwashola is joining from Germany. Expectation is to leverage on my DevOps skills and get a job. Amazing. I love this already. I love this already. It's all making sense. So let's get to hear from more people. Let's get to hear from more people. Let's get to hear from more people. We want to be able to tell by the end of the webinar, and of course you yourself will be able to know that we were able to meet your expectations, because it's going to be an insightful session as well tonight. So please and please and please, let's get to hear from you all as well. For those who haven't said anything on the call, let's get to hear from us. And while we're doing that, of course, we don't want this to be like we are hoarding it. We want you to reach out to your network, reach out to your friend, your colleague, whoever you think this webinar might help, that has been thinking, oh, I want to transition, but will I have to start again? Will I have to, drop all my skills and then have to start to learn something new, afresh, and all of that? Whoever you think this webinar might help, we want you to reach out to them. So please, we're going to be dropping a link in the chat box. Just kindly share the link. Of course, the Google Meet link. Just share with your friends, your colleague, your network. You can put it on your status. Share it with that community group where you are in, and you feel that it might help some people. So we want to really have as many people as possible here with us on the call. So please and please ensure that you share the invite with them, or ensure that you share the invite with them all. And while we're doing that, we still want to get a read from you. We want to get a read from you. Faith, we want to get a read from you. Let's get to know where you're joining us from. Let's get to know where you're joining us from. I'm trying to check the people that we have on the call. I'm trying to check the people that we have on the call. This is going to be an amazing webinar. So I just want to ensure that we have all the people on the call. So Jessica as well. Let's get to hear from you. Henry, you were going to say something earlier, so just type it in the chat box for us. Femi as well, Emmanuel, let's get to hear from you. Okay, thank you for those who are typing in already. Tim is joining from Lagos, still a student looking to start off his journey in cloud computing. That's beautiful, Tim. That's beautiful. You're at the right place this evening, and just stay till the end. Just stay till the end. There is something you're going to be getting out from tonight's webinar. Bamidele is joining from New Jersey, US. Okay, Bamidele, what's your expectation? Basically, what's your expectation for tonight's webinar? We want to get a hear from you before we proceed. Before we proceed. Before we proceed. Before we proceed. Okay, so we have the invite link in the chat box already. So please share that with your friends, your colleague, and all. Okay, so one more thing before I go ahead to introduce our guest speaker for tonight. When she comes on board, please, I would need us to probably take note of our questions, right? Please and please, as much as possible, let's not try to put our questions in the chat box because we might miss out on them. So we want you to make use of the Slido link. It's already in the chat box, but we can pin it. It's already in the chat box. So please make use of the Slido link that is in the chat box already. So that way you'll be able to drop in your questions if you have any question at all, and it will be easier for us to go through that and pick your question. So please and please let's ensure that we make use of the Slido link. It just helps us to properly get to see all the questions without having to miss out on any. Thank you. Thank you for complying. Okay, Jeremiah is joining from Ghana. Amazing. Okay, Bamidele is saying that okay, career change, I believe, from healthcare to IT. That's a beautiful one. Michael is joining from Ghana, looking to build a career in cloud computing and excited to learn from this session. That's a beautiful one. Thank you. Thank you for all those amazing expectations you've put in the chat box for us. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to be going straight into introducing our guest speaker for tonight. Omolara is a highly motivated platform engineer with robust experience in supporting products and deploying cloud resources. She is passionate about building highly available, secure, and scalable infrastructure in compliance with GDPR standards. A fast learner who enjoys providing solutions to problems by digging out research to learn, understand, and apply best practices to different environments. She's interested in building businesses and helping them grow through harnessing the power of the cloud to save cost, scale for the next billion users. Ladies and gentlemen, with all joy, we have on the call with us Omolara Adisa, who is going to be sharing amazing insight with us on how you can leverage your cloud, your current skill, and use them to transition into the cloud role. So we have Omolara with us on the call, and it's so beautiful. Welcome, Omolara. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Over to you.
Hi, Ife. Thank you so much for having me. Good evening, everyone. From wherever you're joining, evening, afternoon, morning. It's so good to be here to, share insights. Actually, I've been a cloud engineer for 4 years now, and I actually learned from Cloud Booster. So it's it's really an interesting moment, and I'm really glad to be here. So without further ado, I'm just going to dive into the topic for tonight. If you bear me 1 second. Okay. Yep. Could you let me know if you can see my screen? Okay. Yes. Thank you so much, Christiana. Once again, my name is Omolara Adisa, and I'm a platform engineer at CGI UK. I've been a platform engineer for 4 years now. And like I said earlier, I did start my journey with Cloud Booster. One fun fact about me is I actually have an undergrad degree in English language. So basically, I read the Shakespearean, poems and the plays and everything before deciding to, pilot into tech as well. So I would say that you're in a safe space, and I would say I'm actually qualified to, speak to you about this. So how can you, leverage your existing skill to launch a cloud career? I noticed in the chat box that someone said they are looking to pivot from healthcare to cloud computing, and I do understand you. I understand that passion to just try something, to level up, to want to do something new. And yeah, I'm just gonna touch on some points. So the question on your mind, if you're working in healthcare, is will I leave probably the NHS if you're in the UK and you're thinking, oh, do I have to leave the NHS and then, probably have to join another company to be able to, start a career in cloud computing? No, you don't have to. Maybe you're a teacher and you're wondering, oh, how can I, pivot as well into cloud computing? Do I have to stop teaching entirely, then start, from scratch? No, you don't have to. So how can you do this? I've tried to summarize my points. I've tried to, make it as concise as possible. And two things I really want everyone to bear in mind rather is when you want to pivot, you want to you don't want to start from the scratch. Two things you have to do is leverage on existing skills, and you have to explore internal opportunities. I'll be expounding more on this as we go, but I want everyone to, just think about your journey, where you are right now. No, Rome was not built in a day. That's what I would say. And you build things brick by brick, 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 right? So you have to leverage your existing skills. You may be thinking, oh, I mean, this is tech, right? So how do I leverage my existing skills? Yeah, which brings me to this. Everyone has one or two transferable skills that you can actually use when you're trying to pivot into tech or into cloud computing. And one of them is problem solving. People think, oh, when I go into tech, I want to write code. I just want to, do one thing or the other, but people forget that the starting point is actually problem solving. There was a time on Twitter that I saw a lady mention that, oh, I built I built a tech company from scratch without technical background or knowledge. And I smiled because I understood what she was trying to say. What she did was she took existing processes and then she ensured that the engineers are able to translate that into technical, you know, implement the solution technically for her. So I understood what she was talking about. It's not just about, oh, I want to build a Facebook. Why do you want to build a Facebook? Because you want to connect to people. You want them to be able to communicate. You want someone in Aja to be able to communicate with somebody in Geneva, Switzerland. So what's the problem? They're unable to communicate because of distance. They're unable to communicate because they are not in a collective room. They're not in a room where they have access. So you would say, oh, I want to build a platform where someone, a Sam in Geneva, can actually have a profile. One Ada in Ilupeju in Lagos can also have a profile as well. They can follow each other and chat. You've solved a problem. And with cloud computing and tech at large, this is one thing that is very important. What problem are you trying to solve? If you're in healthcare, I want you to start to think, what are the problems that you're facing right now in your company or at the hospital? Is it that when patients come, it takes a long time to be able to get their file or identify what existing issues they have? You start to think, so how can I solve this problem so that it's very fast? Like, you don't have to make someone wait for an hour trying to find the files. Some files, maybe rats have even hitting them if you're in Nigeria or something. So you start to think, how can you ensure that you can make this problem, you can solve it? Then you start to think about the requirements. What would I need? How would I translate this into like a technical solution? And then secondly, another thing you have to do still under problem solving is you have to understand the requirements. So you are a nurse, you work in the hospital. What would I need to be able to ensure that I can access, patient's record? I don't want to see paper anymore. I don't want rats eating, the folders anymore. Okay, can I store this somewhere? Can I just put a computer down and then type it in? That's possible for you if you're the only one working, but it's not possible for you to carry your laptop everywhere when you're working with 20 nurses. So what would that mean? That would mean you need a central place where everyone can actually come together and access these files even when you're not on shift. So problem solving. Are you the kind of person that when you see something you're dissatisfied? So you're not a problem solver if you are dissatisfied when you see something. You're a problem solver when you look at it and you find solutions. It is the solution that you find that you actually sell to the world. I can imagine a Facebook where they have to spin up lots of servers to be able to ensure that people in Australia, a billion users are trying to get on Facebook, and they're like, oh, we can see that we don't have the capacity to actually onboard 1 billion users because the use of the system is increasing daily, and they are like, oh, this problem is not only peculiar to us. We can see other companies that have this issue as well. The Teslas, the Amazons, all these companies. That's where they're able to identify problems that is not only pertaining to them but also solve for other people. That's actually one of the things that brought about cloud computing. Another skill that you can actually transfer is communication. As a cloud engineer, you're not working alone. You have to communicate with a lot of people. And one aspect of communication is actually documentation. I've worked in a consulting company, and I've worked on teams where I wasn't the one that started the project. I was brought on to, make some changes based on my skills. And then I'll have to look at what they have done before. I'll have to look at their thought process, because the person that worked on it previously probably got another job and they left. So the documentation is very, very important. They have to write now, okay, this is what we did, this is why we did it. And then if XYZ happens, this is what you should do. And then when you make improvements on that system, you have to update that documentation to say this is what it was 2 years ago, but as at XYZ date, we made XYZ improvements, and then we have a better system. So if you are the type that you know how to write, you can break down anything, that's actually a skill that you can transfer. And then when it comes to communication as well, you can present, if you're the type of person that you can present your findings accurately and precisely and very easy for people to understand. People don't know that in tech, there are two types of people: the technical ones that write the code, and the stakeholders that actually call the shots. Those are the people that tell you, okay, we want to invest £1 billion in this project. Then you look at them and say, okay, this is the problem that we have. I think we can solve it this way. I have researched, and this is what we can do. £1 billion is a lot of money to spend on anything. So how are you able to present your findings to them to say, this is why we are making this decision? Or I can see that we have, 1,000 Tesla in Jamaica, and they belong to this class of people, and then they move from point X to Z. We are tracking the performance of the system, and then I think that we can store this, readings of the sensors on the Tesla in probably a storage account on the cloud. You have to be able to present that to the stakeholders, and also convince the stakeholders. Like I mentioned, £1 billion is a lot of money to invest in technology. Companies usually have, a set amount yearly, maybe each financial year or each calendar year, to say, we want to spend this money to improve our technology. How are you able to convince them to say that chunk of money? Don't give marketing people, they are only lying. Give us tech people who would help you to improve your system, and then we can improve customer satisfaction. We can let maybe you work in a bank, you can tell them, oh, if we improve on this system, we'll be able to send birthday messages to our customers, because we know that based on their application, we know when their birthday was. How are you able to convince them to make that investment? And one other skill that I can actually also transfer is your research skill. Like I mentioned, when you identify a problem, you actually have to research how you can fix that problem. You don't just make a decision on a whim to say, okay, I want to solve this problem this way. Why are you solving the problem that way? Are there other ways that these problems have been solved? Do you think that if you do it in another way, it's going to be better than that, and you're going to, improve on the existing solution that already exists? So you should be able to explore options and not, follow things doggedly. You need to be able to, look at things holistically and say, oh, why is this thing like this? This has been solved this way. Is it because they have this other system attached to them? Is it because, in Nigeria, we know that to access Earth records, you probably have to connect to Glow network, or maybe the government is not going to provide free data for us. So how are we able to access these health records that we are planning to, store on the cloud, so that everybody in the hospital can access it? You have to research and explore options. What works in Nigeria may not really work in the UK, and it may not really work in the US, because we have different infrastructure, we have different mindsets, we have different skills and talents, we have even different patience level. So you have to be able to justify why you're doing that and research what works for what. A solution in Ghana may work for Nigeria, and it may not even work. So you have to be able to say, okay, even though we are in Africa, Ghana is more advanced in this area. So you have to be able to research things. So are you the type of person that you like researching things? You can dig up anything. I think that's one of my strong points when it comes to my career in cloud computing. They know me very well that anything, just leave it with me. I will dig it up. It's either a documentation, something that's been done before, whatever it is, I will dig it up. So that's a skill that you have to transfer, because on a team, um, you work when you're working in a you can work with probably a team of 5 cloud engineers or platform engineers, and then you'll be able to you should be that resource person that they know that, oh, this person will be able to find any documentation that we need. This person will be able to find any resource that we need. So that's a strong point for you to bring onto your team. So is that a skill that you have that can be transferred as well? Also, another thing that can be transferred is, like I mentioned, in research is identifying what cloud resource to use. I remember a time I was scrolling on LinkedIn, and somebody mentioned how they were able to migrate a system from, I think it was from using functions to using, I think it was probably Kubernetes or something. And the person had to break down the steps and the costs. And I looked at it and I was like, first thought to me, if I actually want to solve this problem, would be to use functions because it's very easy to manage, right? But when I looked at the cost implication based on what that person has said, I was like, oh, wow. I mean, even though we are going to have to, provision a lot of things, manage a lot of things, it's actually wiser to use, containers and then Kubernetes for this. So you have to determine, you have to research what's the best cloud resource to use. Is you have to convince stakeholders, is using probably like a storage account much better than using an S3 buckets, or using a blob storage, as it were. So you should also be able to research cost implications as well. Like I mentioned earlier, the case of that they were able to migrate their system from using functions to using containers. You have to research how that cost will apply to you, and you also should be able to research what tools should you use. Really, is like that same example is using functions much better than Kubernetes. Research which is right. Azure has said this thing, but does it really work with the use case that you want to use it for? So those are the skills that can be transferred. Problem solving. Are you the type that you like solving problems? Once you see something, you don't just complain, you take that extra step, you take initiative to solve that problem for everyone. Are you the type that you know how to communicate? You can convince anybody to buy a worn out shoe. You can convince anybody to buy the thing that they don't need. You can present findings. You can convince anyone. That's actually a very good skill to transfer. And then, like I mentioned as well, research. Are you the type that you can dig out anything? You can search for anything. That's also a skill to transfer that you can use on your cloud computing journey. Yes, I want to also mention that we don't just write code. Many people, when they think of tech or when they think of cloud engineers, they think, oh, I don't want to write code. And then, they just back off and they run away like that. I can confidently say that the worst type of engineer is the engineer that picks up their laptop and the first thing they do is to write code. That's the worst type of engineer you would ever have. We don't just write code. In fact, that is the last thing that comes to mind. The funny thing is people think, oh, when you write code, you have to test your code. It doesn't work that way. You actually have to plan for testing your code. How will you test that code that you've written? How will you test the solution? Oh, you want to be able to store, patient data. You want to be able to type it onto a computer or put it on a server so that your team of nurses will be able to access the data. How will you test that it works when you're done with it? Is it that you call a team of 4 people in their free time? You test it in the morning because we know that MTN network is better in the morning, or you test it in the evening because we know that Glow, even though it's cheaper or less expensive as MTN, you're able to use it in the evening. Let's see what works for us. You have to plan for testing even before you do, or even before you implement your solution. So I'm just going to take us through how you work as cloud engineers. We identify a problem. And then when we identify the problem, like I mentioned earlier, we have to understand the requirements. Um, when we understand the requirements, we don't just start building and just dump everything. We have to break what we want to do into smaller chunks. It's just like when you want to build a house and just think you'll just start putting bricks. You have to lay the foundation, you have to build the body, and then probably have to, add concrete to have like a beam or something. So you have to break things into smaller chunks to say this part is what I will do first, then before I do the other one. And then we research as well. Even after we've broken down stuff into smaller chunks, we use tools such as Jira to be able to have tickets and identify, okay, this is the ticket that is related to this problem, tickets that are related to this problem. Then we research. Even after that, when you are assigned a problem to solve, you have to explore and see what works. I remember a day that my tech lead asked me to, I think we were trying to move a solution using pipelines. Please forgive me for this technical jargon that I'm saying. We're trying to move a code using pipelines. It was already done, by packaging ClickUps on a developer's laptop, and then they'll move it to an environment where we can pick it up anyways. But my tech lead was like, we have to make everything standard. And it was like, let me test this out. It was like, let's implement it. At first, I had seen that Azure recommended what the developers used to do, right? But because my tech lead was like, oh, we should make everything standard and everything. And I tried it. I tried my best week on that problem. I just saw that there was no way out. It was not going to work. The best way was what was already recommended and what the developers were implementing already. And I had to go back to him to say, I've tested this, it doesn't work. And even if we try to ship it via code, we will need the developers to probably register it locally, copy the ID, and then pass it on. Like that defeats the point. So imagine I just picked that ticket and I just said, oh, let me just first start writing code. And I had not looked at Azure's recommendation initially. I had that at the back of my mind to say, okay, this is actually the best practice that Azure recommends. So, and then you have to design the solution. Even after you've broken everything into smaller chunks, design what you want to implement. And then you have to choose the best thing. Like I said, my tech lead thought the best solution was going to be having to write, having to use a pipeline to move the code. But that was not the best thing. The best thing was actually to package it locally and then have our pipeline move it when it was already packaged into the solution. Another thing we do is to write pseudocode. I didn't know this initially, but I had to learn it. And writing pseudocode is if you have a chunk of code that you first write it in English to say, oh, I want to create XYZ. And then in the next step, you write, and then attach this to what I created previously so that it's easy to, link it together. So you have to write things in plain English so that you think in English, right? You don't think in code. So you code to be able to understand the flow that you want to go through. And then you validate what you've written that, okay, is this going to make sense? Then you plan how to test what you've written. Then you plan to test what you've written before you finally now write the code. So if you're scared about, oh, I don't want to get into cloud computing before I start writing code. I don't know how to write code, or maybe coding is hard. You don't actually have to write code for everything. And one thing I also want to point out is the fact that these cloud providers, they actually want to make money. And like I mentioned earlier, that when I joined my team, or the teams that have joined, they have documentations on this is how, this thing was done. Apologies, I think I have a delivery. That's my train of thoughts. So when this providers pull out solutions for us to use as cloud engineers, they have documentations as well to say this is how this has to be. So you can actually look at the documentations and follow through. So the last thing you would ever do is actually to write code. So you have to be able to understand a whole lot of things. I remember a time I was doing a release I think I was doing a migration at work. And because I had done it before, I was so confident. I thought, you know what, let's have it. And I was just writing, I was just doing everything. I had to, log into a server, and then I was in the migration. And my tech lead asked me, did you check the release notes from that company for the next upgrade they just released, and I did not do it. And the thing is, he knew that that was risky because those guys would have probably made a change that I was not aware of, but I was relying on old information or old knowledge. So whenever a cloud provider is putting out a solution, be able to they would actually put out the documentation to say this is how this thing is done. So writing code is the last bit of it. Using logic, identifying problems, planning is the most important part. All right. So another way you can, pivot to cloud computing is to explore internal opportunities. Um, for some people that have mentioned, oh, I'm in healthcare, I want to move into cloud computing. I believe that companies have a need for IT. And one of the things you can do is to explore what's available currently in your company to say, oh, I noticed that we have this vacancy and I'm actually interested. I want to do more than what I'm currently doing. How can I help? Um, that's one of the ways you can position yourself. And another way you can, pivot is also to join IT support. People that work with companies where they have company laptops will say, oh, I sent this message to IT that they should reset this password for me. They've not done it. Yeah, when you work on the IT team, you understand how it feels. You would really have a first-hand experience to say, okay, this is how you reset the password in the background. So you don't just hear it, you have a feel of it. So when you begin to get closer to such systems, you begin to, have an understanding of, oh, so everybody in marketing department, you put us in a group and you said, oh, they can only see probably an account balance, but they cannot see the address where this person lives in. It's the IT that actually controls that. So when you join such departments, you have that experience. And you don't have to even stop doing your full-time job to be able to, join IT support. You can say, oh, can I just intern there for like, say, 3 months? Can I just, intern with the IT for 6 months? And if you've learned what you want, you can that decide, oh, okay, I think I actually want to continue in this. Identity and access management is one of the things that IT support do, which is they create you as a user in your company to say this person is a nurse, right? They belong to the nurse group, have a XYZ laptop that they used to do XYZ thing, or maybe they need to log onto a system to be able to view patient data and all those things. You have that experience. Maybe you'll be able to even see one of your other colleagues that is in your department, and then you can see how your view is being restricted. Um, Another way you can actually pivot as well is to shadow teams. In my company, we have, this pathway where they tell you that, oh, if you are tired of your role, just tell us. We have other things that are available for you to, to join so that you can see what the day-to-day activities, and if it's something you actually really you can actually do, just come and test it, or probably shadow them 2 hours a day, 1 hour a day. You can even tell them, oh, I would volunteer to probably support you guys on weekends if there's something like that as available. So you can shadow cloud teams to say, okay, how do you guys deploy things? What tools do you use? When you see things, they become real to you. So when you shadow a cloud engineer and they are sharing their screen, you can see, oh, this is how they write Terraform code. This is how they create what's it called, images, and how to share with stakeholders. This is how their stand-ups are. You can even join their stand-ups to see, okay, this was the problem I had yesterday and I've been able to solve it. This was what I did. You are understanding their thought process. So this is how these people solve problems. You can also shadow solutions architects, and these are the people that make decisions on how systems are built and systems are connected. So you can chat with them for probably 1 hour a day to say, okay, how did you guys come to build this particular solution? And then they will tell you, this is how we did it. They can show you diagrams, they can show you documentation, they can share things with you 1 hour a day, 2 hours a day for probably 3 months. That can actually help as well. So are you still thinking, oh, should I do it? Should I not? So why should you actually pivot to cloud now? The first thing is good earning potential. I can tell you that I've not seen a broke cloud engineer. I haven't. If I've seen them, I've actually seen those that own beautiful cars and lots of houses. So yes. there is good earning potential when it comes to cloud, irrespective of where you're working. And this is actually a good time because not many people have gotten into cloud. There are still lots of vacancies. The other time I was checking my emails and I saw that my company actually put out what's it called? They put out a posting to say we need cloud engineers. And I was like, oh, okay. And then about 4 hours ago now, we had a call and then they mentioned, oh, um, we are looking for people. We are finding it really hard to find people. And if you have somebody that wants to work for us, we are willing to give you £3,000 if you refer them. That's a lot of money. And that shows that cloud engineers are really scarce. Imagine you referring 10 people and then you have £3,000 per head. That's 30K. And I think that's more than enough money for anyone to do something tangible. And also, why should you pivot to cloud now? Cloud skills are widely needed. So if you get into cloud now, you're positioning yourself for a career that will last you more than 10 years. And why? Number one, the government institutions that I know, at least I can count at least 5, 6 government clients that we have in my company because I work in a consulting firm. These guys, they don't have the technical expertise to be able to, get these things done. So they outsource these things to consulting companies. And I've noticed a trend recently that they've been hiring in-house engineers. So, and the government, it takes a while for the government to actually want to diverge from something. So you can, if an institution is going to last years, you can be sure that your job will be secure and they will really value you if you work with them. Cloud skills are also needed by startups. Every day we have somebody building the next Tesla, the next this, the next that. And because they cannot just go and buy a server and say, oh, I want to have a physical server in the house so that I can run things on it and people can connect. It doesn't work that way because they don't know when, they will have more users than they expected. So the cloud provides that opportunity for them to actually, let me use the word that we Nigerians use, blow. In this case, to say they don't know when they will blow. So imagine you used to have 100 users today, and then by luck or by something, somebody tweets about your company to say, I was trying to use XYZ and they did really well. And then say 30K users now decide to come to visit your site. That's a lot of traffic. So you can't do that with a single server in the house if you're a startup. You need to do it on the cloud. So startups are mostly cloud first. They are cloud native, which means they are not trying to migrate from physical servers so that helps you to get into a job that is secure and would you can grow with the company as well. Startups are in need of cloud engineers. Another thing, why should you also pivot into cloud? AI is the next big thing, and I can assure you that AI feeds on data. So because AI is compute intensive, which means that it needs a lot of computing power to work because they have to run models, they have to train models, they have to inject data, they have to clean data, and all those kind of things. It consumes a lot of compute power. So they have to put all these things on the cloud. So this is the right time to actually position yourself for the next AI, wave or when it blows up. So when you're a cloud engineer, you get to work with systems that AI actually live on. You provision things, you ensure that somebody that is driving a Tesla does not stay stuck because they are using hands-free, because the system will try to, take what's it called, knowledge as it were off what you've built. Why should you also pivot into cloud computing? There are a lot of companies that have data, and data is where the money is. You can think, oh, why is it that I was speaking and maybe your Alexa heard, or maybe your phone heard or something, and then a product was recommended to you. That's actually data. They are injecting data every second, because they want to know what you need. They want to know what you're talking about. They want to know what you really like so that they can recommend it to you. You can say, oh, I like this Jimmy Choo shoe, and then before you know it, you just see promotions on your email. They are recommending a Jimmy Choo shoe to you. That's because they know that you want it. So Data is actually very important, and you cannot put data on probably a single server. You actually need a cloud. You actually need the cloud to store that data on and be able to use it because it's readily available. It is up and running. The amount of data that you inject on the cloud is way more than the amount of data you inject onto a single server or probably trying to other servers physically. That's a lot of stress. So when you pivot into cloud, you're positioning yourself for these opportunities. And there is no better time than now to actually position yourself and start learning. All right. Um, One other question is, can I learn cloud in 8 weeks? And I would say yes, you can, because I did it and I know you can too. Um, what can you do to, is it really realistic for you to, learn cloud in 8 weeks? You're doubting, say, is 8 weeks not a short time? Do you think I can actually, do this thing? Yes, and I can give you a breakdown of how that is possible. The first thing you want to do is to choose a cloud provider. We have three major cloud providers, and they are AWS, Azure, and GCP. AWS is owned by Amazon, Azure is owned by Microsoft, and GCP is owned by Google. So you can choose which one interests you. I mean, they have their specialties. Some people prefer Google for data. Some people prefer I think most startups prefer AWS. Some people that have legacy systems prefer Azure. So what exactly is your goal? You have to choose a cloud provider first. And then when you're done with that, you have to start learning these cloud concepts. So what exactly is the cloud? What exactly is a storage account? What exactly is an S3 bucket? What exactly is a virtual machine? You've been hearing virtual machine. So you have to learn these concepts. And one good thing is that across all three major cloud providers, these concepts are the same, even though they have different names. So you have to learn just one major cloud provider, really, and then you have to ensure that you get locked in and learn the fundamentals. One of the things you would do as an engineer is communicate with non-technical people. So you have to understand what exactly you're saying. You don't just jump into it, without a clear plan. So you want to learn the fundamentals online, join a boot camp where you can learn the fundamentals, join a YouTube channel where you can learn the cloud fundamentals. There are lots of channels, there are lots of, classes that are held for you to, learn the fundamentals. So even if you say, oh, I want to learn S3 buckets, why do you want to learn it? I want to learn virtual machine. How does that work? What exactly is a virtual machine? If you're the type of person that when you want to buy a computer, when you want to buy a laptop, you look at the color. Oh, I want to buy a pink laptop. I want to buy a computer that is this large. Why are you buying it? So you have to understand the fundamentals of why these things exist and how they work. So you don't learn that blindly. You have to, learn from people that have been tested and trusted and have the knowledge. So you don't skip the fundamentals. If you skip the fundamentals, it will come back to haunt you. I can say that confidently. And then within the 8 weeks, you have to get hands-on. It's not as if you'll just be watching things. You say, oh, I registered for a boot camp and I'm going to classes. You have to get hands-on. You have to try things by yourself. You have to deploy things on the cloud. You have to click on the portal to say, okay, the said storage account exists, right? Let me create a storage account on the interface, and then let me see, okay, I have a storage account now. Then from there you start, okay, so what is stored on a storage account? You have to be able to say, okay, let me try to upload probably an image from your computer onto a storage account. That's how it's done. If you don't do things like that, that means you don't really have a mind to learn. So is learning cloud in 8 weeks realistic? Yes. You just have to follow who knows road. That's the first thing. Choose the cloud provider, learn concepts, don't skip fundamentals. Don't be in a hurry to skip to the money phase. It's best to learn the fundamentals, get hands-on. Don't just have head knowledge, have hand knowledge if that exists. Get hands-on really, and then you have to start preparing for a certification. People can think, oh, after the 8 weeks, I'm just gonna stop. I've learned. Let me start applying for jobs. I would say that certifications validate your knowledge. You can say, oh, I attended a boot camp, and after 8 weeks, I start applying for jobs. I've done things hands on. But I want you to show to people that, to recruiters or to companies, that you're actually worth your salt. You're worth, the money they are paying you. And getting certifications is one way to prove that. And I would say that getting certifications is a proof of diligence and what's it called now? It's a proof of diligence and also commitment, because when you're studying for something, you don't just learn today and then run away tomorrow. You actually have to be consistent, else you will not get anywhere. So after when even while you're in class, you can start preparing for your certification, because even when you encounter things, then you can go back and ask questions. So yes, can you learn cloud in 8 weeks? Yes, you can, but it is dependent on you. Are you willing to learn from somebody that has already gone ahead of you? Do you know what cloud provider you're interested in learning? Have you even looked at it to say who are the major cloud providers? Have you looked into their offerings? Have you looked into the amount of customer base that they have? Those are the things that you should do, so that you can position yourself to earn the big cloud money. Yes. And after all this talk, if you're still unsure and you're still asking yourself, is this a smart move? Do I really want to do this? I want you to ask yourself two things. Do you enjoy solving problems? If you do, then please go for it. Don't let your mind cripple you. You have to get out of that phase and then go for what you want. And also, if you're still asking yourself, is this a smart move? Should I do this? Yes, you should. If you're somebody that is open to continuous learning, you're not just saying, oh, I want to register for cloud computing class with Cloud Booster, and then I'll just go for classes. I'll deploy what they tell us to deploy in the class, and then and that's it. You have to be someone that is open to continuous learning. I remember reading a book after I finished with Cloud Booster, and that really helped me a lot, because it helped me to understand how teams actually work. I had learned the technical things, I had learned teamwork with Cloud Booster, but I still had to learn how teams from hold, how they work. That book put a lot of things into perspective for me. So I'm someone that is actually generally open to continuous learning. I'm always looking to learn. So if you're someone that is like that, definitely you should. And then what is my advice to you? They always say curiosity killed the cat. That, oh, don't be too forward. Are you sure this thing? Try. Curiosity may kill the cat, but what's the word now? I think it is the findings that bring it back. So even if you are curious about this thing, that am I sure this thing is gonna work? Test, at least try. Don't let fear cripple your mind and then hold you back. And then the second thing, you have to put in the work. Most people just think, oh, what we are taught in class is all that it is. I think the best of students are those that actually go out, do more learning, and then come back with questions. So yes, you have to put in the work. And then I think that's all from me. Did you still want to pivot from a non-technical background into cloud? I would say it's actually the best thing you can do for yourself. Even if you don't do it for probably a career switch, you should do it for the money. Yeah, that's all from me. Thank you so much for listening.
Wow, amazing. That was really, really in-depth and so amazing. Thank you so much, Omolara, for sharing with us tonight. I believe we've all taken note of some of the points that Omolara gave. I believe that we're going to use that and then run with it, basically. Thank you so much for your time. Okay, so without further ado, we are just going to be taking some few questions, Omolara. So you would help us with that, and then I will be handing over to Bimi to take over from here. Okay, somebody is asking from here, saying that investing in tech is good, but how do we get job after training? I can't imagine investing so much finance and at the end of the day, still can't get a job. So that's number one question. And there's another one here. Because of time, we'll just have to merge it together. Says, I have work experience but no tech background. How exactly of course, this has been mentioned. Let me just keep that. I believe that that person has gotten their answers already, basically. So the other one that we have here says for people worried about affordability, how okay, Bim is going to take this. Bim is going to take this. Let me just keep that part. Okay, for the sake of time, I'll just take this one as well. If you were starting over today, knowing what you know now, what would you do differently in your first 8 weeks? So we have that. If you were starting over today, knowing what you know now, what would you do in your first 8 week? And then the other one I asked initially was investing in tech is good, but how do we get jobs after training? And then the person went on saying that I can't imagine investing so much time and all of that. So if you could just help us touch on those two questions before I hand over to Bailey.
Okay, thank you so much, Ife, for these questions. The first one, he said, how can you get jobs, right? The first, if you're someone that you're transitioning, one way that you can actually get jobs is positioning yourself. Positioning yourself on LinkedIn. You're doing something, but you're not visible. Someone that I really respect once said something. He said the favor comes on what is visible. So if you say you're doing something, you're doing it in hiding, who knows what you're doing? Nobody. Who trusts your track record of resilience and, going after what exactly you've set your mind to do? Honestly, I would say mindset and behaviors is actually what drives people towards you. Um, I want to check the chat to see if my tech lead is not here. But my team was previously downsized and it's just left with my tech lead and I. And one of the reasons why he insisted on me staying was because he knows I'm very resilient. He knows that you can give me something and I will get it done. It must be done. Because I'll look at it and I'll be like, I don't want to look like a fool. That's the first thing. So I want to come and come correct. Is either I come correct, I don't come at all. So you have to position yourself on places like LinkedIn to say, oh, I am taking this bold step to, transition. They know that you're open to learning. And one of the best things that can ever happen to anyone is the ability to learn anything. You can learn anything. I can carry myself today and say, I want to start producing shoes tomorrow. What fuels me is that determination to actually do it. So when you put yourself on LinkedIn, you see somebody that can actually have a go at something and try to do it and then get it done. Another way you can actually get jobs is through networking. Who do you speak to? Do you go into people's DMs? If you message 50 people, there is somebody that has gone through that path that you've gone through before. So they know how it feels. They know that you're trying to break into this thing. Is either they guide you or they refer you to their network to say, this person is trying to get into cloud computing. They've done the training. They've told me their issues. And you don't just go like that. What exactly have you done? You can say, well, I've been trying to do all these things. I also looked at your company, the use cases that you guys have, published online, and I can see that is somewhat similar to what I've done before. I'm really interested in improving my skills and ensuring that I contribute my skills to the company. That's a great way to start. You've shown them that you not only know about their company, you know about the use cases, and then you want to even contribute your part to the company. That's impressive. I'll be more than willing to refer that kind of person. Another thing is you have to attend career fairs. If you're living outside Nigeria, see probably, in Europe or probably the US, do you attend career fairs and you speak to recruiters? When they see you, you have a connection with them. It's much better than you just applying blindly. They've had a conversation with you. They're like, oh, this person is very passionate. They will even speak for you in rooms that you're not. They'll be able to speak to people, to their company to say, okay, this person may not know everything 100%, but I have seen their doggedness and I think we can bank on them. So those are ways that you can actually, apply for jobs and get jobs. LinkedIn, positioning yourself on LinkedIn, having a track record of consistency and doggedness, and also networking, both on LinkedIn, meetups, going for meetups, speaking with people to say, oh, I've heard about your company. You can even attend a non-cloud meetup, probably a Python or data engineering meetup. Data engineers will know if there are openings in their company, and then they can refer you. And then you can also go for career fairs. I've forgotten the second question. Could you remind me, Fair?
Okay, just a second. Let me get that. I think some messages dropped in. So, okay, the person is saying, I have work experience but no tech background. How exactly do you translate? Oh, this was the one I said you mentioned
Okay.
already. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Um, the fact that you have work experience but you don't have a tech background is not something you should be scared of. You should be able to translate that experience into these soft skills that I mentioned earlier. Communication. You were able to coordinate a team of XYZ to do a particular thing. That shows that you're a team player. Um, all these soft skills are things that translate as well to something that can be what's it called now, that can be useful in your cloud role. People don't just throw your previous experience away. When I was in Nigeria, I worked with NTA as a program assistant, and I did put it there that I researched the trending topics, and I was able to produce 10 minutes programs, all those short clips. And that shows them that this is somebody that can research. And if you ask my team, one thing they will tell you is she can research anything out of wherever it is. So that shows that you can research things and you're putting it on your CV. You don't throw your previous experiences away. So yeah, it's not as if you would take them off, but you can also add it in to say, okay, you've transitioned from your current role into cloud, and these are the skills that you can bring on board. Non-technical skills are very important. Um, I've worked with people that are very snobbish, people that they are not the most friendliest of people. But when you are the person that can bring people together, that's a very strong skill to have because you're bringing a team together. Synergy is very important in a cloud team. I cannot be creating an application gateway. Someone else is creating a storage account, and I cannot communicate with them. What good does that do my employer? It doesn't help them in any way. So if you're the type that you can bring people together, you can ensure that there is a flow of communication. That's something you should definitely put on your CV and never discard. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Omolara. This has been an insightful one. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We really appreciate you for this wonderful session. I mean, you already see the emojis and the reaction going on around. Thank you. This was really good. Okay, so right about now, without further ado, I'm going to be handing over to Bimi to take over from here. Over to you, Bimi.
Thank you so much, Ife. Please, can we celebrate Omolara once again? Like, can we appreciate if you had a great time just listening? Can you just celebrate her? Omolara, thank you so much. Like, it's always such a joy listening to Omolara because I remember when she was about to start her journey as well. She had a lot of questions similar to what you guys are asking today. I mean, look at her today, 4 years down the line, such an inspiration. She also teaches at Cloud Booster. She facilitates, she mentors, she guides. It's always a joy. And this is a picture of what the journey, you know, would be for you if you decide to make a decision today. So thank you so much, Omolara. It's a joy to have you. So I'll just go straight. Please, if you have questions, just put it in Slido, so that it's easy to take. But before, I'm sure that all your questions are going to be captured in my little presentation, right? Some of you may have heard me talk about this before. Some of you are new here, and I just want to share with you exactly what we do at Cloud Booster and how it's going to help your career journey. We're all about adding value and how this is all what we've talked about today. What is in it for you? It's not so much about you knowing how important it is. You need to know why you should get started. So why should you get started? Omolara has talked about how your journey could look like. Some of you have heard us talk about cloud computing before. Cloud is a skill that is currently in high demand and will continue to be, 10 years, 20, 30 years down the line. Organizations are migrating their workloads to the cloud, and there is a demand for people who have the skills to take on these jobs and help organizations. Why should you learn with us at Cloud Booster? You guys have heard of Omolara already, right? You've heard of Omolara already. what we do at Cloud Booster is that we take you from beginner to being a job ready professional. And how do we do that? Through structured learning, industry experts, right? Hands-on projects, job support. And I'll tell you more about it as I go on in this conversation. We have two pathways, which, I mean, for anyone who is starting from scratch, we have other pathways for experienced people, but this is how your journey would start when you decide that you want to learn with us. So we have the cloud computing pathway, which takes you on an 8 weeks journey, right? Understanding understanding AWS as a major cloud provider. You learn how to build solutions on the cloud. You work with AWS services, real life use cases. You learn programming. Omolara talked about the importance of programming as well. You learn how to use tools like Git and GitHub, and this will help you to land roles like being a cloud engineer or being a solution architect. We have an additional pathway that we recommend. Again, the more skills you get, right, the more valuable you are in the market. After you finish your cloud pathway, we recommend you go ahead and also do the advanced DevOps pathway as well, right? With this advanced DevOps pathway, you get to understand CI/CD deployment, you get to learn containerization, you get to learn Kubernetes, you work on advanced projects. Truthfully, you're going to use more tools than this, but this is the barest minimum that you will do with us at Cloud Booster. And how do we get you to competence, right? Your learning with us is practical, it's hands-on. From day one, you're coming to class, you're building solutions on the cloud. That's what you're going to be doing. There's no theoretical learning. Everyone that is teaching you, we all work as cloud DevOps professionals. I've been in this field for over 8 years, right? And we have people from all across the globe bringing their wealth of experience to teach you every Saturday. So on Saturdays, we have weekly live classes, the lectures that you come to class, I mean, Zoom class, virtual class rather, and then you're learning, right? We're teaching you concepts, we're testing your knowledge, you're building solutions on the cloud, you're going into your breakout room, we're having group discussions. That's the best way to learn. And all of this begins to form your work experience or your cloud DevOps journey. We also have lab sessions. Some of you have done our boot camps, you've experienced our lab sessions where we actually give you a step-by-step guide, for all the tools you need to learn. All of this has been prepared by us in-house. Again, it's just to ensure that you're able to practicalize. There is a lot for you to know in this cloud DevOps journey. And what we've done at Cloud Booster is to distill that knowledge into what is relevant. Pick projects that will give you enough confidence when you're applying for your job. So you actually learn cloud by doing it, right? That's what we do. You're learning through exposure to different perspectives. And then you get to strengthen your soft skills as well. So at Cloud Booster, you're learning, you're building your soft skills, you're building your technical skills, because you need every of that for your journey. And then you also you have the opportunity to work in real life cloud environment, like I said, and put your practical learnings to live projects. We have a very strong alumni community. We don't joke with our alumni, and this is where you get to network, attend career upgrading events. You get exposed to exclusive job opportunities, right? We help you with troubleshooting as well. So every now and then we have an alumni meetup tomorrow with all our alumni. We have one-on-ones. I have one-on-one sessions with all of them. We have all of these things just to ensure that those who are already enrolled, they get all the support that they want, and those who are on their journey to getting their roles have all the support they want. So everyone, all hands on deck. You're building projects. Some people, even as your students, right, you've not finished your program yet, we're still telling you about how you can apply for jobs, which leads me to my next point, right? Which leads me to, let me go to this point on career support. We provide career support services, that get you to land your dream job. And what that entails is guidance on your CV. How do you put your CV together? How do you make ATL compliance, right? How these days, from screen CV alone, some people are already disqualified and you don't know why. That's why we're here to help you. Organize job interview simulations sessions, job readiness sessions with industry experts. We give you materials for you to prepare for your certification exam. Now, I always like to differentiate this. Preparing for your certification is very good. In fact, I have an exam tonight. In the next 4 hours, I have an exam that I'm writing. So certifications are good and they are very relevant. But you need to understand that we have to have that balance of hands-on training and getting your certification. So while you're doing your certification, you're going to be learning a broad range of many theoretical concepts that you may not have the opportunity to actually build on. But what we do at Cloud Booster is now to support you and give you that hands-on, because the hands-on experience that will help you to get jobs, that will give you projects that I can talk about. So we focus our Saturday classes on hands-on, And then we now give you materials that you use to prepare for your certification exam. You know, because anyone can sit down, if you're very serious, you can look through your exam, read it, and pass. But you wouldn't have learned how to build solutions on cloud or how to solve problems, like Omolara was saying. So we do that. We give you that balance of it too. But our focus during your training is hands-on, so that you can have work experience with us and then you can get your job. So you have to do the two. Like I said, I'm doing my certifications. I mean, you have to do certifications, but you also have to build on the cloud and know how to solve problems using cloud computing. That's why we're here. You have access to exclusive job opportunities from our recruitment partners as well. And then we give you close follow-up with job interviews, right? Very important. We also give you weekly close-up support. So while you're with us, so it's a premium training, and we're not even, because anything that you need as far as your journey is concerned, we've thought about it and we've embedded, we've taken feedback, we've reviewed our training just so that we can support you. We're here to support and encourage you. There's no reason why, you know, I mean, we've gotten our jobs already. Thankfully, we're doing well, but we can't just rest at that level. We need to think about, how about people that want to get into this field? You know, how about people who don't want to be underemployed? Some of you have jobs. It's not like, the problem is not unemployment. The problem is underemployment, where you feel like I can do more, right? It's not just, I don't just want to stick in this particular field I'm in. I'm only doing this job because of the money. But you can actually even get more money by positioning yourself in the right, you know, field. And that's why we're here. Every Wednesday, we have live sessions to check in on you and then resolve any issues that you may have. You can also book one-on-one sessions with your facilitator, your technical facilitator, at your own convenience, just so that we can help and support you as you're building. It's a long journey, right? Whether you do the 8 weeks pathway or the 16 weeks, it's a long journey, but you need support. That's what you get from us that you cannot get by just buying the course online and then nobody knows who you. Here, we know you by name. We know you by name. We're checking on you. If you're not in class, we give you monthly reports. We're checking your attendance. How many people came to class? Why are you not in class? Have you done your assignment? You have to submit. You know, all of this is tracked, because adult learning can be so challenging, and that's why we're here. The support, the advice, the encouragement, the assistance, that's what you get from us on all levels at Cloud Booster. And then now, this is something that we just incorporated. I've been looking forward to sharing it with you guys. Everyone that enrolls in our training now, from this new cohort that we're launching, you have a guaranteed internship opportunity. So you have an opportunity, and of course, I will explain terms and conditions shortly. You know, you have a guaranteed internship opportunity. This is one thing that, you know, people have requested for over the years, and we know that it will also further enhance your journey. You know, you have the opportunity to actually land an internship placement with our sister company immediately you finish your training, provided you have met our criteria in terms of assignments completed, you know, projects done, and the minimum, we have our minimum percentages, which will communicate when you come on. But the key thing is just people that are serious, are ready to go all in. Because some people enroll for our training or this kind of trainings. People enroll for this kind of trainings and they don't finish. I don't know why, but that would not be you, because you're serious. That's why you're here. You're able to stay to the end. And I have a special discount for people that stay till the end, right? So this guaranteed internship opportunity with our sister company, and that's where you get to, in addition to the fact that you're already working on practical hands-on learning from day one. After you finish, we will now deploy you to a real life project where we take a business and then we show you the challenges that they're having, whether in their pipelines or a company that wants to migrate to the cloud. You see how we start that engagement from beginning till the end, manage the journey, manage the process. This is something that is a game changer for everyone joining us this year. We're really looking forward to supporting your journey. So immediately after your program, you have that 100% with us. And with all of that, I mean, what else do you need to land your dream job? We just need that seriousness from you. Look at some people that have learned from us, right? These are people who have learned from us and they've landed opportunities. I found Cloud Booster at the time when I really needed a career upgrade. I completed the training with great support, and today I'm 2 times AWS certified, and that is Tosi, and she's landed a dream job. She's working at development engineer. She's really balling. You will meet her in Cloud Booster as well. We have Benga as well, who started his training after wrapping up his master's program. Funny enough, he did a master's program in something tech related. And I also have somebody in that alumni that did computer science, right? Went ahead and did his master's degree in computing and still had to do our training in order to level up, because the world is changing very fast. And this is someone that studied abroad. He did his master's program abroad and he still had to do our training in order to do his certification, and then he now landed a job as a cloud data engineer in the UK. Sponsored job, like, so there are people who have done this. They've got to, I've always been sponsored until I was able to, until, I met the criteria for other things. But yeah, I'd always been sponsored as far as my job is concerned. I've been contacted on LinkedIn for job opportunities just because of having the right skills. And I'm not sharing this to talk about myself. I'm sharing this so that I can know how you also can be that highly sought after cloud professional. You have to follow a pathway, right? You have to follow a pathway. Look at Ebolua, who was a nurse in the UK. I remember when she came on board, she was skeptical, asking questions and all of that. Imagine, from nursing, she took this training very seriously. Nursing is so demanding, going to work and all of that, working many shifts. Now she's enjoying her life. You also meet her counselor. She's one of our facilitators. She said, I juggling my work as a nurse in the UK with my training at Club Star was a conscious investment I made in my future because I wanted more. Now I work as a DevOps engineer in the UK. Absolutely, that's what captures that journey. We have Adiola as well. She was a working mom with three children. She was a full-time mom. She hadn't worked for a number of years. She had taken a break to look after her family, and when she was ready, she joined us at Cloud Booster. We supported her. You will also see her at Cloud Booster as well. She's also a cloud DevOps engineer in the UK. So these are people who have stories, whether you're in a different field, whether you haven't worked for years, whether you're worried about your background. This is Dorcas, who studied at Greek at university. I remember when Dorcas also started, like, Dorcas made up her mind that, man, I'm going all in for this. She landed her first cloud role after the training. Same thing with Olumide as well, engineering background, and then he landed his job as well. So there's nothing stopping you. Like, if these people can do it, you can also do it. Omolara is there. We have different people, right, who have got. What do we need from you? We just need to have a very good computer and be comfortable with how to use a computer, and also be ready to devote extra hours for study outside of class. Sometimes some people will be like, oh, but you told us it's only Saturdays. In addition to the Saturday, you also need to put in the effort because it's going to take from you. But it's an investment in your future, just like Ebo said. I want you to be passionate and be ready to give it all that it takes, right? And our Cloud DevOps pathway, just for you to have a glance, right? This is what it looks like. These are the tools you're going to learn, and many more, really. These are just the baseline. So for all of this that I've said, I'm sure some of you are wondering, how much is it, right? Each of our pathways that last for 8 weeks each, right, is £1,500 each at full price. That's the full price. That means if you were to spend 16 weeks or so, you're looking at £3,000. But again, like I said, you guys have stayed till the end. Of course, you will have a discount, right? If you stay till the end, of course, you will get a discount. So if you want to take advantage of our early bird discount, you can still take advantage of it, where you get to pay £1,000 for each of these pathways. And that gives you a total of £2,000. Okay, that gives you a total of £2,000. Installment payment plans are available. You can also pay in any currency. You can pay in any currency that you want. The discount expires on Thursday, 12th of February. But if you take advantage of this, if you even make payments by next Saturday, today is Friday, yeah, by next Saturday, we can give you the 2 pathways for £1,800. Quote me to your program advisors. So join the February cohort. 21st of February, we'll get it started. If you pay within a week, you get additional £200 discount off the 2 pathways. Please take advantage of it. The offer expires in Thursday, 12th of February. So please take advantage of this opportunity. All you need to do is to send a message to one of our program advisors. Installment payment plans are available. All you need to do is to lock your first installments or pay in full, right? And then you get access to this course. You have a lot. Imagine going on that journey. Just think about where you will be by June this year. Just think about where you'll be by June this year. You get started today. You didn't know anything about it. So 21st of February, you've already gotten started. You start your first class. By 18th of April, you're done with your first pathway. After that, you're looking by June, you're done with your second. 16 weeks into the year, you're already on a different level because you've learned skills. And then after that, you now have an internship program again where you're working on real life projects. All of that put together in your CV, that is what you need. More than enough that you need to actually transition this year. So take an action. Don't be that person that, Don't be that person that, you've heard about this many times, but you're skeptical. You need to move. You need to move. There's so much benefit in actually saying that, you know what, let me just take that step. Let me just take that step. I'm going to go straight into my questions. I saw some questions popping in, immediately after but let me quickly go to Slido, take your questions. And if you still have any other questions, I'll prefer if it's a Slido, so it's easy for me to, find, because the chat can really get, so how long? Okay, some of them have been answered by Omolara already. For people worried about the affordability, how should they think about the financial return of tradition? I like that question. And Ebon's quote is my answer for you. It is an investment into the future version of yourself, right? See it as you want to get into the next level, you're putting money down, you're going to get the money back in multiple folds, because by the time you start working, your starting salary could be as high as £35,000 or even more. So if you put down £2,000 to do the training, and you're going to be on another salary of £30,000, £40,000, trust me, that's a very good return on investment. So how does Cloud Booster help students move from learning to earning? That's what I just explained, right? So what's the biggest reason someone should start their cloud career transition now rather than later with Cloud Booster? Oh, beautiful question. Because the reason why you need to start early is because every time is good. So imagine if you start in February now, by June, you already have 4 months worth of experience. By the end of the year, you're already 1 year into the field. What people do is, if you keep delaying, imagine the years of experience that you will have had, you will have harnessed together. But because you didn't make a decision, right? The years are going by, the trends are, the trends are there. You're seeing that cloud is the future, but you're still not taking a step. You're delaying your time to actually earning. And the earlier you start earning, 2 years down the line as a cloud engineer, you could double your salary. The earlier you start, the better. So if you want to be on a salary of £100,000, you want to be on 6 figures by 2030, it's a decision that you make now and early that will get you there. Many of us are scared of wasting money. How does Cloud Booster reduce that risk? I love that question. This is not a way. You can even speak to people who have finished with us, right? Omolara is an example. So it's not, you're investing in yourself. There's nothing to lose. See, this one is not like you're going to sign up for a program and then nobody's monitoring you. You are coming to class. You are getting value every week. You're going to do an internship. You're going to do CV review. You're going to people always come back and tell us that they got more value than what they paid for, and that's usually the case at Cloud Booster. Okay, so please record. Oh, someone is asking for the name that of the book that Omolara read afterwards. Omolara, we'll send it to you. If Omolara is in the call, she can just give us in the chat box. Are you technically saying Cloud Booster can't guarantee us a job after learning with them? What we're saying is that we're going to make you job ready. You getting a job is in partnership of what we're going to give you at Cloud Booster and your own efforts. So I'm not going to lie to you and say that once you finish with us, this is job that is waiting for you. What is 100% guaranteed is your internship. But I can assure you that putting together your experience, your efforts, you've done your assignments, you came to class, you took it seriously, like Ebu did, like Adiola, like Olumide and all these people. They didn't even have the opportunity to do a full day, an internship, right? And they still got the opportunities. So we are positioning you to access the opportunity. I will give you everything that it takes. It's only somebody that is not taking this thing seriously that will not get a job afterwards. So look at it that way. Let's work together and make it happen, okay? Do you offer fully funded scholarships for individuals who cannot afford the payments? Please reach out to us. We're actually launching our scholarship scheme this year. But, I mean, there's certain criteria for that. We haven't started that yet, but you can still reach out to us. But it's something that we're doing this year as a CSR project. Yeah. Is the fee for certification also part of the training? Yes. Your certification fee is part of this. I forgot to mention that. So for those of you that are signing up today, we're actually going to make sure that we also cover your certification fees, which is another beautiful perk. I don't see what you're waiting for. Please take advantage of all that we have to offer. We are going to cover your certification fee as well. You need to do the AWS exam. It's recommended, right? And we're going to get it paid for, embedded in your program. So I'm just trying to see. Please put your questions in Slido. Can one take the advanced class only? Yes, 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 you can. If you decide that you just want to do the DevOps pathway, you've already done maybe cloud training before. Yes, we have people who just, in fact, we have 3 different DevOps pathways. I didn't just want to go into that because no number of us are believers. We have the advanced DevOps pathway, we have the platform engineer pathway, we have the SRE, we have platform engineer pathway, we have the SRE and security pathway for those who already have a level of experience and you just want to level up. Or even if you want to take individual courses with us, let's say you just want to go ahead and learn Kubernetes deeper dive, just reach out to any of the program advisors. Please put the numbers in chat box. Reach out to any of us. You can actually just be with us. We just teach you a particular concept or a group of courses for a period of time, and then you're able to level up in your career. So please, we have all of that available as well. Okay, we have all that is available. Oh, so Olawale is answering the question already. Absolutely. There's no one that can actually guarantee a job, but we will give you everything that you need, such that you're able to access those opportunities. And to be fair, we actually have had jobs. And you know the beautiful thing about joining a network like this, because you have access to instructors, the people that are teaching you are people who are working as DevOps engineers. When they have openings in their organizations, they are reaching out to us. So we are having, and we also have our recruitment partners as well. So with our recruitment partners, right, who have jobs already and they are waiting for Cloud Booster graduates, what they do is that they come to us, and that's why I said T and C applies even for the internship. They come to us and like, oh, we have this job available. We need somebody who has already got their certification. And then we present you based on, we prepare you, your interview, blah, blah, blah. So you have to defend yourself and then get that job opportunity. But you will have everything that you need. You will have everything that you need. You can bank on that. You will have all the tools that you need to get that job. So if you are ready, please come on board. 100% we're here to help you. Okay. I'm just trying to see if I missed any question. I'm currently self-learning Amazon AWS. Do you think Azure will be easier? AWS is actually the best to start with, but once you finish AWS, you want to leverage Microsoft Azure as well, because Azure is becoming very, very popular these days. Okay, the book is called The Phoenix Project. Oh yes, I love that book on DevOps as well. So for someone that asked about the book is called The Phoenix Project. I think you already have that answer. Please put your questions on Slido, so it's better to actually answer. Okay, I think that's all. Thank you so much. Let me go and read for my exam. Or let me go and get ready. But ultimately, guys, join us. It's a beautiful journey. The financial independence that you get, the ability to travel everywhere, opportunity to work remotely, the freedom, enjoying the challenge. I mean, every day comes with its own challenges, right? But I mean, you just enjoy it all the way. You think about the reward and you know that it's beneficial ultimately. We can't wait to have you. You need somebody to guide you on that journey. Saying that I will do it on my own, I know you get lost. Who's going to support you when you get stuck? But this is an investment that you're making in. And if you want to speak to our program advisors to actually just get a bit more confidence, please feel free to reach out to us. The book is called The Phoenix Project. It's called The Phoenix Project. Okay, so reach out to us. We're here to help you. We're here to support you. We're here to clear your doubts. Installment payment plans are available. You're going to be with us for 16 weeks. If you want to do 8 weeks, that's fine. We recommend the 16 weeks journey. And then we are going to prepare you to be job ready. Once you work in partnership with us, your job is guaranteed. Working in partnership with us, doing everything that we said. But one thing we can assure you of is that you're going to have an internship immediately after you finish with us. So please take advantage of this. That's a new one. That's a new one for people that are just joining us. So take advantage, and we'll see you in class on 21st of February. Okay? All right. Thank you, everyone. Please enjoy the rest of your evening. Enjoy the rest of your Friday, and bye-bye. Thank you, everyone. Be in our DMs. We're here for you. Thank you.